What's good, people? I'm back, and today I'll be discussing my picks and predictions for UFC Fight Night, Della Maddalena versus Carlos Prates. We all love watching CP. We'll be watching CP highlights for. We'll. I had to go back and watch a lot of CP in order to do tape study for this fight and do my predictions. What the fuck am I doing, bro? Let me just go to topology and stuff. I've actually done a lot of research for this, and that is why this video is a bit late. But yeah, let me just go to topology. Okay, first fight on the prelims, or first fight to start the card, we have JDM Mar Fan versus Cody Steele. Now, I do have a problem where whenever I'm doing my predictions, if I just go blindly without any knowledge whatsoever of the betting odds, I end up picking every single fucking favorite there is. So, dude, if you hear some like water and shit falling, like water drops and stuff, I don't know, dude. It's my fucking cooler, dude. Yeah. Anyways, where was I pick a lot of favorites, so this time I made sure that I will be picking, underdogs as well. So I'll be picking JDM Mar Fan, who is a slight underdog, and actually I feel like he could win this fight. Where the problem is Cody Steele, the guy is 7-1 at 31 years old. That's a bit old to be 7-1. He has a very extensive background in grappling. He has a very big jiu-jitsu background, which is good because JDM Mar Fan isn't really known for jiu-jitsu, but his jiu-jitsu is semi-decent. The problem once again with jiu-jitsu in MMA is you can't come from a pure jiu-jitsu background and expect it to work in MMA. You need to have wrestling. And Cody Steele doesn't fight like he knows how to use jiu-jitsu. He goes out there, he goes into a dogfight, he goes out there and just starts throwing bombs and haymakers and stuff. He starts swinging wild. And if you're gonna do that against JDM Mar Fan, you're gonna lose a horrible decision, That's pretty much what happened in JDM Mar Fan's last fight. Now, I think Cody Steele probably is like the biggest, probably is the best fighter JDM Mar Fan has fought yet, except for Quillen Salkilld. His only losses are to Quillen Salkilld, which tells me something. And JDM Mar Fan has a lot of submissions on the regional scene. So I think he'll be able to defend the grappling enough, and he'll be able to keep it on the feet. And after a certain point, Cody Steele will just start throwing bombs and get caught, and probably start getting caught over and over again, and then probably lose like a 30-27 or like a 29-28 decision. So I'll be picking JDM Mar Fan by decision. Next fight on the prelims, we have Jonathan Micallef versus Themba Gorimbo. I used to be big on the Themba Gorimbo hype train. I was like, Themba Gorimbo might actually be decent. Then I saw his last fight. Dude, what the fuck does this guy even do? How do you lose to Jeremiah Wells? You know how horrible you have to be to lose to fucking Jeremiah Wells? Jeremiah Wells lost to fucking Max Griffin and Charleston Harris. That's how shit Jeremiah Wells is. You lost to Vicente Luque, whatever. He does have a very good win over Ramiz Brahimaj, which is aging very well. But dude, Jonathan Micallef just beat the shit out of Oban Elliott. Oban Elliott is not an easy fighter to do that, dude. Yeah, where was Jonathan Micallef, right? Jonathan Micallef, dude. Oban Elliott was doing decent, and then Jonathan Micallef pretty much took him down and submitted him, bro. And Themba Gorimbo, he's a grappler. He's like a controlled wrestler pretty much. He's mid everywhere, to say the least. I think Jonathan Micallef is gonna TKO Themba Gorimbo. Because if you are knocking out Kevin Jusey and you're submitting Oban Elliott, I think you have enough wrestling and grappling in order to defend Themba Gorimbo's takedowns and stuff. But your striking is good enough to the point where you can kind of knock him the fuck out. So I'll be picking Jonathan Micallef by round 2 TKO. Next fight on the prelims, we have Ben Johnston versus Wes Schults. Schults, man, I don't know what the fuck this guy even does. There's a way for Wes Schults to win this fight, and that's by imposing his grappling and jiu-jitsu. He's a decent wrestler. He's not like this otherworldly wrestler. If it gets to the ground, I'm a bit worried for Ben Johnston. But Ben Johnston has a lot of submissions on his record. Like, he's 5-1, dude. He's 5-1. Like, he's 5-1. He has all finishes. 4 of them are rear naked chokes. What the fuck? What the fuck? Ben Johnston is somehow older than Wes Schultz, which is concerning. But I'll be picking Ben Johnston by like a decision. I think it will be like a outside foot battle-ish decision where he just strikes on the outside and lands like his jab and like lands leg kicks and stuff, lands some couple decent shots on the outside, and pretty much just skirts around the outside while Wes Schultz tries to shoot takedowns on him. And I think it will go to like a decision, probably a 30-27 if I had to guess. Maybe even a 29-28 if Wes Schultz gets a takedown in one of the rounds. The biggest problem is, if Wes Schultz does get him down, I have a feeling Ben Johnston might be able to get back up. But I won't be putting too much, I wouldn't put money on it. I wouldn't be too confident in Ben Johnston being able to get up. So yeah, dude. Hold on, dude. Now the next fight. I'll be picking Ben Johnston by decision. So the next fight, it's fucking Colby Thicknesse versus Vs Morales. Now, dude, Josias Musasa, dude, he's decent. He's decent. The reason I'm talking about Josias Musasa is that's the only decent win Colby Thicknesse has. That's the win I have to go off of to pick him against pick him against Vs Morales. Vs Morales, he's like 3-8 in the UFC. He just lost to Taylor Lapilus, who is very good. I don't know why Taylor Lapilus isn't in the UFC. He lost to Elijah Smith, who's also very good. He lost to Raul Rosas Jr., who's now ranked. He has a lot of wins on the regional scene. But back in the UFC once again, he has a win over Luis Smolka, Draco Rodriguez. He beat Ayman Zahabo. And other than that, he lost to Song Yedong, Benito Lopez. In 2019, losing to Benito Lopez isn't that bad. He lost to Chris Gutierrez. That was a leg kick, so probably a fluke, right? Johnson Martinez in 2022, which is actually decent. Miles Jones in 2022. I'm a bit worried. But he has been putting up some finishes on the regional scene since then. But he's also, he's also lost 3 unanimous decisions in a row. To be fair though, one of them is to Elijah Smith and one of them is to Raul Rosas Jr. And one of them is to Taylor Lapilus. Now you gotta wonder, does Colby Thicknesse have as good of a grappling as these guys? Fuck no. Is he as good of a striker as Taylor Lapilus? Fuck no. I'm pretty sure Colby Thicknesse, he got dropped by Josias Musasa, if I'm not wrong. Hold on. No, he didn't get dropped, but he lost the first round very badly. He had not the first round, lost the second round pretty badly. He had some pretty big shots. It just wasn't looking on point, The way for Colby Thicknesse to beat Vs Morales is to take him down consistently and hold him down. My problem with that is he has never faced a fucking decent grappler in his life. Listen, hear me out. He trains with Volkanovski and all them. They don't have the best, offensive wrestling. They don't have the best offensive wrestling where he trains, which, isn't enough. Which, you can still beat Vs Morales that way, but his striking looked awful against Josias Musasa. He got horribly outstruck by Alexander Topuria. Not only that, he got taken down consistently. This guy, the grappler he faced is Josias Musasa. Josias Musasa's grappling is just non-existent. Josias Musasa, after he got taken down, Colby Thicknesse moves into half guard. Colby Thicknesse's one leg is pretty much between Josias Musasa's 2 legs. And Josias Musasa's 2 legs, what does he do with those 2 legs? Instead of maintaining half guard, he just lets them be fucking open. What the fuck are you doing? It was that easy. Every single time Colby Thicknesse took Musasa down, Musasa, he got to, Colby Thicknesse got to full mount. Musasa didn't know what a fucking half guard is. He didn't know you are supposed to lock your fucking legs together on one leg to maintain a fucking half guard. Like, holy shit, dude, we gave shit to DDP and all that. Just ask Musasa, what the fuck? It was literally right there. It was literally right there. The leg was fucking there. I don't know what this guy was fucking doing. So, all I gotta say is Josias Musasa, he got out grappled in that fight, and that's why he lost. But in rounds 1 and 3. But dude, it's Vs Morales. I think he'll be able to defend most of the takedowns by Colby Thicknesse, and the striking will be pretty matched. And I'll just be picking Vs Morales by decision because nah, dude, I can't pick fucking Vs Morales. Dude, I'm not gonna pick Vs Morales. Sorry, man. I'm picking Colby Thicknesse by decision. My sole reasoning for that is... Hold on, let me look up Vs Morales stats, Vs Morales, dude, how are you getting outstruck by Raul Rosas Jr.? Elijah Smith, he's decent on the feet. He got absolutely schooled by Taylor Lapillus in the striking. Raul Rosas Jr., most of the fight took place on the ground. But, dude, even on distance, the strikes were matched for him and Rosas Jr. Dude, it's fuck it. I'll pick Vs Morales by decision. I think he should be able to, in theory, outstrike Colby Thicknesse because, dude, Josias Musasa is not that good. He beat the shit out. He was piecing up Colby Thicknesse in the striking. I have this feeling that whatever it is, the fight is not going to take place in the grappling because it will just cancel out. I think Vs Morales is a decent enough grappler, and Colby Thicknesse's grappling is a bit overrated because of the win over Josias Musasa. So that I think the grappling will cancel out and it will take place on the feet. Now it's just a matter of, is Colby Thicknesse a better striker than Vs Morales? Which he probably is. Does he have a single decent win? He didn't get horribly outstruck. Okay, nah. He was losing the fight on the feet to Josias Musasa, but the reason he outstruck him is because they're counting the strikes on the fucking ground. At distance, he's tied with Alexander Topuria for strikes, even though he threw like twice as many strikes as Topuria. But and on the feet he was losing to Josias Musasa, dude. So it's kind of hard for me to pick Colby Thicknesse, but I'll pick Colby Thicknesse. Fuck it. I've went Colby Thicknesse, Vs Morales. I'm kind of split here. This is one of those fights where I don't know, man. Fine, I'll pick Colby Thicknesse by decision. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Jacob Malkoun versus Gerald Meerschaert. Oh my god, dude, it's fucking GM3. GM3 by submission. GM3 by whatever he wants. Nah, dude, GM3 is getting knocked the fuck out. Jacob Malkoun, he's a control grappler and whatever. Let's not pretend GM3 is any fucking good. GM3, he's on like what? 4-fight losing streak? Yeah, 4-fight losing streak. Like, he has a win over Edwin Shabazian, which is good. He got arm triangled by René Derrier. He lost to fucking Brad Tavares. He got dark choked by Kyle Dawkins. He lost to Mikhail Olejniczak. Holy shit, dude. The guys he's losing to are actually pretty good. And he beat Edwin Shabazian. So I might have to reconsider this. Split decision on the Andre Petroski. Yeah, I don't think so, bro. I'm picking Jacob Malkoun. Like, but I'll tell you what. Right now, Jacob Malkoun is a minus 1,000 favorite. If the odds switch and Jacob Malkoun somehow becomes a less favorite to win, like the odds drop and he becomes minus 600 or minus 550 or less than that, Gerald Meerschaert is winning that fight. I'm just telling you straight up, that's just how it works somehow. But I think Jacob Malkoun should be able to stop the grappling of Gerald Meerschaert, and I don't think he's that much better than GM3 on the feet, but he beat the fuck out of Torres Finney. And GM3 is kind of chinny, so it will probably be competitive on the feet until he lands one shot on GM3 and puts him out. I'm picking Jacob Malkoun by round 1 TKO. I don't even want to break this fight down, man. What the fuck is GM3 doing? I don't know why they have this motherfucker in the UFC. Next fight on the fucking prelims. We have Junior Tafa versus Kevin Christian. Oh my days. I'm hearing voices in there. Dude, I can't, dude. What the fuck? How am I supposed to pick Justin Tafa? Even though I picked Justin Tafa. Now, I've picked a lot of favorites this card. I would like to say that right now. Because, I usually don't pick as many favorites if you guys know me. But dude, I'm just feeling a lot of these favorites winning these fights. A lot of these fights are close. I can feel they can go either way. But I just have a feeling for the favorites to win these fights, How the fuck am I supposed... hold on. How the fuck am I supposed to pick Kevin Christian? The reason I'm picking Junior Tafa is for the because Junior Tafa is a way better striker than Kevin Christian. Kevin Christian, he's a jiu-jitsu guy. He likes to take down his opponents and submit them. He has a couple of TKOs on his record, But pretty much what happened in Kevin Christian's last fight was he got dropped by Billy Alekana and then he got subbed, In like what? How many fucking seconds? Okay, in round 1, yeah. Junior Tafa's last fight, he dropped Billy Alekana and then Billy Alekana wrestled up and then he submitted Junior Tafa. Junior Tafa was about to ruin this Junior Tafa was this fucking close to ruining my parlay. Junior Tafa was three good ground and pound shots away from ruining my parlay. So I think I'm gonna pick Junior Tafa by probably round 1 TKO as well, dude. Because if the fight does go longer than 1 round, Kevin Christian's winning this fight. I'll tell you that much. The problem with Kevin Christian is I don't think he can consistently take down Junior Tafa. Billy Alekana is fucking good. I just think Kevin Christian, he got in his Contender Series fight, he wasn't the one getting takedowns. His opponent was the one who got takedowns and then he submitted him off of his back. And against a guy who's a better striker than you, that's not gonna work. How are you gonna bait that's just how basic MMA works. If a guy is a better striker than you and you have better jiu-jitsu than him, then you need to be a better wrestler than your opponent. Kevin Christian, he's probably a better wrestler than Junior Tafa, but the gap between the wrestling isn't as huge as the gap between their striking. So I'll be picking Junior Tafa by round 1 TKO. Next fight on the prelims, we have headlining the prelims, we have Cam Rowstan versus Robert Bryczek. Now this is actually a very close fight. I'm picking Cam Rowstan by round 3 TKO. Probably will be a close fight up until then. Bryczek might even be winning. Both of these guys don't have a single decent win. For the future, this is gonna be the reference fight when we look back and we're like, okay, who do I pick? Cam Rowstan. Oh yeah, he beat Robert Bryczek. That's decent. Robert Bryczek, he's coming off a solid win over Brad Tavares, where he pretty much schooled Brad Tavares and beat the shit out of him horribly in round 3. He comes from Octagon. He has a lot decent. How many wins in Octagon? He has 4 wins in Octagon. He also has 3 losses, which is a bit concerning. Now Octagon does have a lot of good fighters, but dude, you can't be fucking losing to Ihor Pottier. His best win is Brad Tavares, and Cam Rowstan's best win is fucking Crody Brundage, dude. What the fuck? He knocked out Brandon Holmes 5-0, who was 5-0 at the time in Contender Series. He also lost to Torres Finney on the Contender Series, but he also lost to Jacob Malkoun back in 2017, which I don't know why that's so funny, dude. But I guess the reason he lost to Torres Finney was probably because of the wrestling. I don't think Robert Bryczek is a good wrestler. I don't think he's near the level of Torres Finney even. Brandon Holmes, who is this guy, dude? He's now 6-1, so that's good. He's got up a win since then. Cam Rowstan, he's a very tall, lanky guy, and he has freaky power like CP. He also knocked out Andre Petrosky and Crody Brundage. he did take 2 rounds to beat the shit out of Cody Brundage, which is concerning. But also Cody Brundage, dude, this guy might be the most durable motherfucker there is. Like, he went to a split decision with Dante Johnson, who I rate pretty highly. Other than that, dude, I think it will be a very close and competitive fight. Maybe Robert Bryczek could even be winning, but Cam Rowstan is probably gonna catch him in the 3rd round and knock him the fuck out. That would be my prediction. And it's not like Robert Bryczek hasn't been TKO'd before. It has happened. So I'm picking Cam Rowstan by round 3 TKO. Next fight on the main card. First fight on the main card, opening up the main card. Oh my days. Tuivasa, Tuivasa, Ty Blobbyvasa, whatever you want to fucking call him, versus Louis Sutherland, Louis Blobberland. This is WrestleMania main event, dude. This is some WrestleMania main event shit. Hold on, let me get some water. This is some WrestleMania main event shit, dude. I'm picking Ty Tuivasa by decision. I'm picking Ty Tuivasa. Louis Sutherland is 10-5. The guy is 1-1 in PFL, 0-1 in Bellator, 0-2 in UFC. Which promotion are you winning in, brother? Like, who are the guys you are beating? He beat a guy called Jan Lysek, who is 2-20. Let's take a look at his 10 wins, right? 0-0, 0-0, 2-20, 1-3, 4-1. That might actually not be that bad. 5-2. Okay, that's decent. 9-5. 9-5, dude. You're the guy working at 9-5 beat him. 5-7. 3-2. 4-1. What the fuck, dude? He did get fucking ragdolled by Brando Pericic and did get ragdolled by Walter Walker, which is, which leads me to believe that he might actually be good. And Tai Tuivasa, what's scaring the shit out of me is the sequence against Tailson Teixeira, where he just stood there in front of Tailson Teixeira, no head movement, his hands were low, nothing whatsoever, and just ate like a 4-5 piece combination straight up to the dome. You can't be doing that shit against Louis Sutherland. And Tai Tuivasa gassed out horribly, which is concerning. But I think Louis Sutherland doesn't have that much cardio in him either. So I think Tai Tuivasa is a better striker than Louis Sutherland. And the way to beat Tai Tuivasa, if you're Louis Sutherland, is to take him down. Louis Sutherland ain't doing all that. He's probably gonna lose a very close decision, if I had to guess. Tai Tuivasa was actually doing decent against who's the guy? Tailson Teixeira, and even though he ate like a 5-piece combo to the face, he didn't get knocked out, which is, Louis Sutherland, which gives me hope against Louis Sutherland, That on the feet, let me look at the stats. Tai Tuivasa outstruck Tailson Teixeira by 1 strike. But most of the strikes landed by Tuivasa were ground and pound pretty much. So I feel like Tai Tuivasa should outstrike Louis Sutherland for at least 2 rounds before he gasses out in the 3rd and gets his shit beat out of, Okay, that sounds very wrong, dude. I don't know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, I'm gonna pick Tai Tuivasa by UD. Next fight, we have Brando Pericic versus Shamil Gaziev. Listen, Brando Pericic is the clear pick here, but there is something that's kind of, concerning to me about Shamil Gaziev. Shamil Gaziev actually has decent skills. His striking is god-awful. Let's just not talk about that. The Brando Pericic has like a very huge advantage in the striking, but we have never seen Brando Pericic get taken down and somebody try to take him down consistently, He has 1 loss and that's by rear naked choke, but he does have like 1 single submission on his record, but he's also fucking 6-1, so that's a bit concerning, because if Shamil Gaziev takes him down, he will win the fight. But that's a very big if. That's a very big if. I'm gonna pick Brando Pericic by round 1 TKO. It's the fact that Shamil Gaziev's chinny, and Brando Pericic, he has a lot of power, and he's faster than Shamil Gaziev, And I think at heavyweight, grappling is gonna be a bit hard to pull off. And I think Brando Pericic probably isn't a fraud, so he should be able to get this one done if he's not completely a fraud in the grappling, because we have never seen him grapple before somebody to the level of Shamil Gaziev. And if I'm Shamil Gaziev, why I wouldn't stand at range. But that's also another problem. If he can't set up his takedowns at heavyweight, that just isn't going to work. And also, Brando Pericic, if I'm not wrong, Louis Sutherland shot a couple takedowns against him in his last fight. Louis Sutherland actually got one takedown. That's bad. But Louis Sutherland also shot 3 times. But Brando Pericic got right back up. And the 2 takedowns that he stopped, he sprawled like really hard on Sutherland's head. And that's what led to the TKO. There wasn't even like a knockdown. So I think Brando Pericic should get this done by round 1 TKO. If I think by this point, anybody who's watched my channel for a bit knows I have a very horrible stutter. Whatever. But if the fight does go longer, Shamil Gaziev probably will out-grapple Brando Pericic in the later rounds, because Brando will probably be gassed a little bit. To be honest, Shamil Gaziev doesn't have a decent gas tank either. Brando Pericic, he's also like younger than Gaziev, he's bigger than Gaziev, so whatever. Next fight we have Marwan Rahiki versus Ollie Schmid. If Ollie Schmid somehow fucking wins this, I'm quitting watching the UFC. You put a 4-2 guy against a 9-0 guy, and you expect me to fucking... I'm not picking Ollie Schmid. Ollie Schmid, he lost to a 0-0 guy in his debut. Let's look at his 4 wins. 0-0, 0-2, 0-0, 5-5-3, which is whatever. Still not a winning record, by the way. So he does have a couple of knockouts. If Ollie Schmid probably is a striker, if I'm not wrong. Marwan Rahiki is probably a better striker than him. Harry Hardwick is probably a better striker than him. He broke Harry Hardwick's jaw. Marwan Rahiki on the Contender Series, he got like a very good TKO, and he does have a guillotine choke on his record. So I'm gonna pick Marwan Rahiki by round 2 TKO. That's just what he does. He's probably gonna land like something. I don't know. Whatever it is. It's gonna be in the second round. I'm picking Marwan Rahiki by round 2 TKO. And if Ollie Schmid wins this, because I have a feeling, if Ollie Schmid wins this, I'ma just stop watching the UFC. Next fight, we have Tim Elliott versus Steve Erceg. Now hear me out. There's no hearing me out. I'm picking Tim Elliott by unanimous decision. Now my reasoning for that is, Steve Erceg is a way better striker than Tim Elliott. Tim Elliott is probably, like, if we were to go wrestling, is probably a much better wrestler than Steve Erceg. Not much better, but like, I would give him the slight advantage in the wrestling. Now the jiu-jitsu, it's a bit concerning. People forget, man. Steve Erceg, man, he got taken down 9 times by Pantoja. People forget, man, Steve Erceg, he hit 1 fucking reversal on Pantoja. People forget, man, he got 1 takedown over Pantoja and immediately got reversed and got his shit beat out of. People forget, man. People forget, man, Pantoja outstruck him, man. People forget, man. Like, okay, hold on. Like, realistically speaking, what the fuck is Steve Erceg's best win? Steve Erceg's best win is fucking Ore Osborne. He got outstruck by Brandon Moreno horribly. He even got taken down by Moreno. Kai Kara-France fluked him. Kai Kara-France actually might be decent. And he does have the power to put you out. Now, Steve Erceg, if he was in a jiu-jitsu match with Tim Elliott, he would win, like, every single day. I wouldn't even question him winning that fight, But the problem is the fight starts on the feet. And if Tim Elliott takes down Steve Erceg, he's gonna get back up. Now, the way for Tim Elliott to win this is he does a full-on Marab performance, and he just constantly takes down Steve Erceg and lands a bit of ground and pound. Then Steve Erceg's gonna get back up, then he'll go immediately on the takedown again. And I feel like it's gonna take a bit of time for him to realize how good of a striker Steve Erceg is. Because, well, also Steve Erceg is not that good of a striker. He got fluked by Kai Kara-France. Kai Kara-France, dude, who has Kai Kara-France fucking beat? Like, Kai Kara-France has one win over Steve Erceg. Kai Kara-France, he got knocked out by Brandon Moreno. You know, he has a win over Cody Garbrandt at 125. You know, he has a win over Askar Askarov, which is good. He got fucking dropped twice by Brandon Royval. You know, he lost to Brandon Moreno once before by UD. You know, his best win is probably Cody Garbrandt or Askar Askarov or Steve Erceg even. He beat Amir Albazo. That was a robbery. You know, like, he's outstruck Amir Albazo very horribly. His grappling just isn't there though. So it's just, you're getting fluked by Kara-France. Pantoja on the feet, I'm not even, like, he overall outstruck him, but even on the feet, it was like 96 strikes to 107. You know, that's not good. That's not good, bro. So 96 strikes to 107, that's pretty close. So I'm just saying, he lost to Moreno pretty horribly, which, you know, Moreno in hindsight isn't that good of a striker. Moreno, after seeing what that fucking guy, Lonnie Kavanagh, after seeing what Lonnie Kavanagh did to Brandon Moreno and what Brandon Moreno did to Steve Erceg, it's a bit concerning. And also, but if that was it, I would pick Steve Erceg, because I would be like, Steve Erceg is a much better striker than Tim Elliott. He got dropped by Ode Osborne. He nearly got finished by Ode Osborne. Ode Osborne is horrible. This guy lost to Ronaldo Rodriguez. Well, he did knock down Ronaldo Rodriguez. You know, he lost to Asuel Mabayev, Philo, who are pretty decent. He went to a no contest with Alibi Idris. Now, here's the thing. Ode Osborne, round 1, he goes out there and knocks you out. You know who knocked out Ode Osborne? Manel Kaap, who's decent, which I'll admit, he's a good striker. He's probably the best striker at 125 right now, other than maybe after Lonnie Kavanagh. But he also got knocked out by Tyson Nam. You know, Ode Osborne, he beat Charles Johnson. He has a win over Luis Gurul. Motherfucker, Ode Osborne's grappling is just not there. You know, who has Steve Erceg out-grappled in the UFC? Like, Steve Erceg, he got fluked by Kara-France. Brandon Moreno, he couldn't even out-grapple Moreno. Moreno was the one who took Steve Erceg down in that fight. Like, he has a submission. He doesn't even have a submission. He took down David Dvorak. Yeah, dude, you took down David Dvorak. He took down Alessandro Costa, and he also got taken down by Costa. You know, he has a TKO over Matt Schnell. What the fuck am I supposed to do with that? Like, every single fight he's been in, he's been fucking taken down. Even Ode Osborne took him down. Brandon Moreno took him down. Kara-France, he's a striker. He knocked him out in the very first round. Pantoja took him down 9 times. Matt Schnell got knocked the fuck out. Matt Schnell is not even that good. You know, Alessandro Costa took Steve Erceg down. David Dvorak, he took Steve Erceg down. He did outstrike Alessandro Costa, which is good. Alessandro Costa is a very good striker. But also, are we gonna ignore the fact Alessandro Costa is also not that good? So, Steve Erceg, man, his striking is a bit overrated, and his grappling is even more overrated. And Steve Erceg is chinny. Let's just say it how it is. Steve Erceg doesn't have a chin. Brandon Moreno has pillow hands, and he landed so many shots, but he couldn't knock out Steve Erceg. And Brandon Moreno just has pillow hands, dude. Brandon Moreno doesn't have much power behind his shots. Ode Osborne, he got knocked down by Ode Osborne. Kai Kara-France fluked him. You know, it's not that he doesn't have a chin. The guys he's fighting also are very powerful. But Tim Elliott has one hell of a chin, dude. Tim Elliott, he's probably been TKO'd before. But the kick he ate from Kaya Sakura, he ate a head kick from Kaya Sakura. He caught the head kick. He took down Asakura. That was round 1. And then he landed some tough ground and pound on Asakura. Asakura's grappling is very fraudulent. Steve Erceg has way better jiu-jitsu than Asakura. But there's 3 ways you can beat Tim Elliott. 1, you're better than him everywhere. 2, you're a high-level striker with very good takedown defense. 3, you are a controlled grappler. You're like one of those you have decent jiu-jitsu to not get swept or subbed. And you can consistently take down Tim Elliott. Those are the 3 ways you beat Tim Elliott. I'm picking Tim Elliott by unanimous decision. I think round 1 he'll drop it. Because he just wouldn't realize how badly he's getting beaten up on the feet, and he'll probably go for a takedown in round 1 and probably realize the way to beat Steve Erceg, for him at least, is to take him down consistently over the next 2 rounds, and that's probably what he's going to do. All that being said, Tim Elliott has negative fight IQ, so don't put too much faith in my pick. Steve Erceg is the safe pick. I'm just gambling on one pick. I usually do this, where I'll just do a very horrible pick, or I'll do a very risky pick. But Tim Elliott, dude, he landed some good shots on Asakura, and Asakura isn't that good. But Asakura is very fraudulent. Let's just say it how it is. But Asakura, man, people forget he landed that one flying knee on. He landed that one flying knee on Panto. No. He TKO'd Juan Archuleta, who's awful. He beat Yuki Motoya, who's decent. Now the question is, will Tim Elliott take down Steve Erceg? Will Tim Elliott have a fucking game plan for Steve Erceg? Probably not. Will Steve Erceg probably get controlled for 2 rounds at least? No. I'm just going out on a limb here. I have a feeling Steve Erceg is going to win. I'm picking Tim Elliott by unanimous decision. Do not pick Tim Elliott, okay? Do not look at me afterwards and say, dude, you picked Tim Elliott. This guy really picked Tim Elliott, dude. He's an idiot. I know I'm an idiot. That's why I'm picking Tim Elliott. Let's just move on to the next fight. I've yapped enough about that stupid ass fight. Wrap it up. Just start preparing for the funeral. Just start preparing for the funeral of Beneil Dariush. Rest in peace in advance. I'm sending you my prayers, brother. Quillen Salkilld, he's actually pretty good. This is the way for Beneil Dariush to win this is to consistently take down Quillen Salkilld. Now let's just break this fight down. Usually what I do for when I'm trying to pick somebody to win a fight is first I'll look at them stylistically. Second, I'll look at the records and the guys they've beat and stuff. Third, I'll break it down according to where they're better than their opponent and who is better than who at what aspect. So let's break that down. On the feet, Quillen Salkilld is much better than Beneil Dariush. On the wrestling, Beneil Dariush is a better wrestler than Quillen Salkilld. He might not be, maybe Quillen Salkilld is a better wrestler than Dariush. We do not know. From what I've seen yet of Quillen Salkilld, Beneil Dariush is a better wrestler than you, brother. Quillen Salkilld has better jiu-jitsu than Beneil Dariush. Now these are skills, right? Now we go to the physical attributes. Quillen Salkilld has more power than Beneil Dariush. Chin. Beneil Dariush is more chin. Quillen Salkilld has a much better chin than Beneil Dariush. Those 3 factors combined, you're better. If you're a worse striker than your opponent, and you have a worse chin than your opponent, and your opponent has more power than you, those 3 combined never end up good. Quillen Salkilld is faster than Beneil Dariush. Quillen Salkilld is younger than Beneil Dariush. Quillen Salkilld has more fight IQ than Beneil Dariush. The way for Beneil Dariush to win this is to get takedowns and control Quillen Salkilld. Will he be able to do that? Probably not. And as long as the fight stays on the feet, even if Quillen Salkilld doesn't knock him the fuck out, he would win like a striking based decision where he just outstrikes Beneil Dariush for 3 rounds. Because, look at this. Even if Beneil Dariush takes him down consistently, he won't be able to hold him there, he won't be able to do much damage. And Quillen Salkilld on the feet will do more damage than Beneil Dariush. Now it's just... And I was watching MMA Chase live stream and he was like, I hope Quillen Salkilld doesn't grapple with Beneil Dariush. Which, I hope too. But I don't understand why you'd think Quillen Salkilld would grapple with Beneil Dariush. I think Quillen Salkilld is smart enough to not go out there and shoot takedowns on Beneil Dariush. And realistically, even if he does that, what does Beneil Dariush have in the jiu-jitsu aspect? Who has Beneil Dariush has a win over Renato Moicano, which he did by out-grappling Moicano, which is good. Moicano has a very good... And he beat Matthias Gamrot, and people forget, he beat Gamrot. How the fuck did this guy ever beat Gamrot? It's just the problem that Quillen Salkilld will more than likely get taken down in this fight. Unless he just knocks out Beneil Dariush very early on. But if I had to place a bet, I would say Quillen Salkilld would get taken down at least once. But the problem is he's gonna get right back up to his feet. Beneil Dariush doesn't have good enough jiu-jitsu to hold down Quillen Salkilld. And once he starts getting back up, it's gonna be over. And I'm gonna pick Quillen Salkilld by round 2 TKO. Now for the main event. We all love watching CP. The greatest initial of today versus the greatest initials of all time. JDM versus CP. Holy shit, dude. Yeah, JDM. Yeah, brother, it's over. I'm picking Carlos Prates. Now, there's a way for JDM to win this is to get on the inside and not just try to box with CP. It's to implement your grappling. He's shorter than CP, he's stockier than CP, he has more girth than CP, so he should... Okay, I really need to stop saying that. He has more girth than Prates, so he can get takedowns then... Here's the problem though, Ian Gary didn't get takedowns against Prates. Leon Edwards took him down, which... Leon Edwards, in hindsight, is a better grappler than JDM. Because if you look at the Belal fight, he actually reversed positions. Well, JDM also took down Belal once. Leon Edwards reversed positions and nearly beat Belal Muhammad, I just feel like Carlos Prates, even if he does get taken down, he's probably gonna hop right back up. And if this was 3 rounds, you could try to do that strategy where you try to get on the inside and try to take down CP, which is very possible. But over 5 rounds, that becomes a bit hard. And CP's cardio, I know people like to point out the fact that he has horrible cardio. He doesn't have shit cardio. The knockdown he got over Ian Gary was in round 5. The reason he lost that fight was not because he gassed out and he just didn't have any energy in rounds 1, 2, and 3, and 4. How the fuck does that work? He didn't lose the fight because he gassed out. How does one gas out in round 1, How do you gas out in round 1, 2, and 3, and 4? But you have cardio in 5. It doesn't work like that, you fucking idiots. He lost the fight because he's worse than Ian Gary on the feet. Stylistically speaking. No, if this was the Carlos Prates that was fighting Ian Gary or that before fighting Ian Gary, I would have picked Jack Della Maddalena, no problem whatsoever. It was the way CP fought back then, the way Prates fought back then. I really need to stop saying that. I might get cops knocking on my door. The way Prates used to fight, he would get on the inside, he would use his Muay Thai, he would fight in like a boxing-esque range. But since the Ian Gary loss, he sort of switched up his style. He switched up from being more so of a Muay Thai fighter to being more so of a kickboxing heavy style, which doesn't match up well, which stylist, because, hold on, let me explain this. If CP would have fought Jack Della Maddalena before the Ian Gary fight, he would have let JDM get into the pocket and he would have probably tried to bang with JDM in the pocket. After the Ian Gary fight, he's gonna be on the outside and he's gonna try to land that straight left that he has. That's what he did against Edwards. He didn't let Edwards get into pocket. He didn't let Geoff Neal get into pocket. His striking completely switched up, and he's not one-dimensional anymore. His striking is not as one-dimensional anymore. He was a very Muay Thai heavy guy, and after he just got completely exposed for that, for being a very one-dimensional striker by Ian Gary. Which, to be honest, Ian Gary is probably like, if we're talking only skill, Ian Gary is the most skilled striker at 170. So there's no shame in that. CP has more power than JDM. And while we are on the topic of Carlos Prates being one-dimensional, Jack Della Maddalena is one-dimensional. And especially in this matchup, because JDM flicks that high kick and body kick, he won't be able to do that against Carlos Prates. For one, if he tries to throw a body kick, Carlos Prates can counter that because he's so long. He can't throw a head kick, obviously. He can try doing those leg kicks, but Carlos Prates is gonna throw the leg kick back at Jack Della Maddalena, and Jack Della Maddalena doesn't have a good defense for the leg kick. In open stance, Islam Makhachev was landing good calf kicks on JDM. Carlos Prates is probably gonna fight in... Carlos Prates is a southpaw mostly. He does switch stances often, but he's mostly a southpaw, so the open stance will be there. That being said, JDM does switch stances a lot, but that's not gonna help you, brother. Carlos Prates also doesn't get pressured. It's very hard to pressure a guy like Carlos Prates. Also, there's way more traffic coming back at JDM. JDM is mostly going to get on the inside and box the head off of Carlos Prates. That's the main weapon that JDM has. Carlos Prates, he can stay on the outside, he can throw long range shots, he can throw head kicks, he can throw knees, he can throw elbows, like spinning elbow bullshit. He can do that. JDM can't. For one, because he's so small. For two, if he gets caught, it's over. That being said, he can TKO Carlos Prates. He has good enough power. I feel like the fight will be competitive. JDM might even actually be winning the fight. It might be 2-1. My prediction is it will be going into round 4. It will be 2-1 JDM. I don't care whichever round it is. It will be 2-1 JDM. And Carlos Prates is gonna land a straight fucking nuke onto JDM and put him out. It's probably not gonna be like a horrible flatline like he did against Leon Edwards. It's probably gonna be something similar to... because it's very hard to catch JDM clean. Not because JDM has a granite chin or whatever. He's not gonna catch JDM clean, but once he catches JDM, he's not gonna catch him clean. So that's why it's not going to be like an immediate flatlining. And JDM will get knocked down. He'll try to get back up. He'll try to maintain a guard. JDM's head's pretty fucking dizzy. He lands ground and pound from top. And just the ref comes in, stops it. That's my prediction for this fight. So I'm picking CP by round 4 TKO. Stylistically, this is very fun. But also, the calf kick has been exposed. Carlos Prates, he's a very intelligent fighter. Before, he just used to get in the pocket and bang with guys and try to use his Muay Thai. Now he actually fights intelligently. The way he fought Leon Edwards was very intelligent, He's longer than Edwards. He landed Edwards is a good boxer and he has good kicks. That's not gonna work against a guy that's longer and has more reach than you. So he just did what he was supposed to do. Stay on the outside. Do the outside foot battle bullshit. Land the fucking straight left nuke. And put Leon Edwards out cold. JDM switching stances will be a problem early on in the fight. But as the fight goes by, Prates is going to catch on and he's going to knock down JDM. It will be similar to like the Ian Gary fight where he knocked down Ian Gary and Ian Gary was nearly finished. But this time JDM is actually gonna get finished. Those are my predictions and picks for UFC Fight Night Perth. So yeah, dude, it's Perth, right? If I'm not wrong, Perth. So yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys in the next one.